What's up? It's Marco back here on This Week in Soccer, the weekly show where we cover all things U.S. men's national team. Man, we got a lot to talk about this week. A lot of players made their debut after signing in the transfer window, a couple of injuries, and also Champions League games. So starting off with some player debuts, and man, Cameron Carter-Vickers had a very solid debut for Celtic. He scored a goal and kept a clean sheet for them, helping them to a win, and even got named in the Scottish Premier League Team of the Week. Man, very good performance by him, and I'm really interested in Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's kind of fallen off our radar, but he's still a very solid player. In the Championship, on loan from Tottenham, he helped Luton Town avoid relegation a couple years ago. Last season, he almost helped Bournemouth get promoted, and now he's in Celtic. So he's been climbing up the ladder. I'm really interested to see if he can hold up in the Europa League, and if he can, he's another center back to really add to that radar, because I don't feel like that's a position that's really nailed down at the moment, especially if we go with the back three. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how Cameron Carter-Vickers can keep going. Next, we got Chris Richards, another center back on loan. Chris Richards at Hoffenheim, and man, he made his debut. He started for them, and yeah, it looks like Chris Richards is going to get a lot of playing time. If he continues this, he's definitely going to end up in the national team conversation again. I really don't feel like he should ever have even fallen out, even when he wasn't playing at Bayern, but hey, he's definitely getting back into it now. So yeah, very good for him. Not the greatest win, they lost. Not the greatest game for them, they lost, but hey, still, Chris Richards getting playing time. I'm really interested to see how he can develop. Next, Nicholas Giacchini. He made his debut for Montpellier, coming off the bench, helping them get a win. Yeah, I was not too sure if he would get this move. I really wanted him to move out of Ligue 1, but man, Montpellier, very solid French team, and if he can continue to produce for them, if he can really get a good run of games going, man, that's a really good striker in a top-flight league. I mean, we just saw Jordan Pefok. He really wasn't able to make it in Ligue 1. So if he can do something really good here, that's huge for the national team. Next, Matthew Hoppe. He made the bench for Mallorca. He wasn't able to start. He wasn't called up to the national team for fitness issues, which I just assumed he wasn't playing a lot. So I'd expect him to play a bit more once he gets back into the flow of things. But yeah, definitely good to see him already on the bench, because there's a couple of players like Erik Palmer-Brown and Matt Miazga who haven't got anything right now. So just making the bench, that means something at this point. Now for other guys, I feel like we should start with Gianluca Busio. He had a very good performance for Venezia and a win. Man, he's been doing very well in the Serie A. He's already starting for them. He's definitely somebody who looked like a real good signing for them, not just adding like a Tanner Tessman and a Jack DeVries because maybe like an American connection. Busio seems like he really earned that move, and yeah, he's been playing very well for them. Next, Joe Scaly. He's continuing to play very well for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And he's playing on both sides. He's looking very dangerous. I wasn't too sure about his athleticism, but man, he's looking really fast, really explosive. And I honestly feel like if he keeps this up, if he continues to play for them, he's got to be in the national team next time. Because something about Scaly, he's playing on both sides of the ball. Even in this game, he played on the right and on the left. So he's very versatile. He's someone that I'd probably like to be called up alongside like Dest, Robinson, maybe DeAndre Yedlin. Because I feel like, well, right now we'll get to Reggie Cannon and Bryan Reynolds a little bit later. But Joe Scaly, he's making some really good progress, and I'm very excited about him. Next, another guy to talk about is, well, two guys actually, Justin Che and Ricardo Pepe. They both linked up for a goal for FC Dallas, and those two are looking really good. Ricardo Pepe, man, he might be the USA's number 9 right now because he's on great form. It doesn't look like he's slowing down, and he produced for the national team. We haven't had a striker do that in a while. I really like his hold-up play. He's a great finisher, and he makes really smart runs. Great striker, and he's only going to get better. Justin Che as well. He's been playing right back and doing pretty well there, but he seems more like a center back naturally. I'm not too sure. Bayern are still very interested in him, so you might want to see what Bayern Munich 2 does with him. You know, you could just be putting him out at right back. I'm not too sure if he stays there long term. But, you know, another guy linked with the move, Ricardo Pepe. He's been linked with a couple moves to Serie A. I feel like we've heard this for a while. I think Genoa was linked to them a while ago. But yeah, he continues to look good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Ricardo Pepe. A lot of guys to look forward to. A lot of them are coming out of FC Dallas' academy, including Bryan Reynolds. He came on for Roma in a win, but unfortunately, Jose Mourinho did not exactly give him a glowing endorsement. He basically said in a Calcio Mercato article that Reynolds only came on because he was the only guy available, and if they had other players, even if they weren't like a natural right back, they wouldn't have come on. So a little bit weird, especially considering that from all reports, Roma turned down loan offers for Reynolds, but now it doesn't seem like he's going to get played. I mean, I feel like we were kind of excited when Jose Mourinho came because we know how good he can be for certain players, but man, he does not have a good reputation for young players for a reason. I mean, and when he was at Chelsea, they got rid of Kevin De Bruyne, Mo Salah. Did they get rid of Lukaku when he was there? I know he didn't play for them. But yeah, I mean, you can argue that they won the league anyway with him, but I feel like there could have been a lot more progress made if they kept those guys. I feel like Chelsea fans would agree. But granted, they're looking pretty good anyway. But yeah, disappointing for Bryan Reynolds. Next, Mark McKenzie came on for the second half in FC Genk for a draw. He only played a half for them. Maybe this has something to do with European games coming up for them. If that's giving their starters a bit more rest, which is probably it, because I don't think he's broken into the team yet. But hey, we'll have to see. I mean, getting playing time, that's definitely not a bad thing. Next, Brendan Aronson starting the Champions League for RB Salzburg. That game's going on right now, so can't really talk too much about that, but it was 1-1 last time I checked, but great to see Brendan Aronson in the Champions League. Then DeAndre Yedlin, he started for Galatasaray. He's been behind incumbent right back there for a while, so I'm not too sure if this was just starting because of the European games, which happens a lot, but hey, getting playing time is what it is. Then West McKennie, similar to DeAndre Yedlin, started, but probably due to the Champions League games coming up. Juventus are putting out a strong lineup against Malmo, who I believe they have an American on them too, but not somebody really in the conversation right now. But yeah, West McKennie, I mean, he doesn't seem like he's a real guy for Juventus right now, but he's still in the team, still in around the lineup, so that's good for him right now. But man, you have to wonder if those exit rumors really had something to them now. Next, we got Tyler Boyd, and man, we might have to get used to Tyler Boyd because we've got a ton of injuries on the wing, and if Boyd continues to play well, like, man, he could get back to the national team pretty quickly. But he is starting for his new club, Saykor. Need to get the pronunciation down for that. He's on loan in Turkey. He's actually starting along opposite of Yannick Bolasie, so that's really interesting. Might have to watch them because big fan of Bolasie. But yeah, good to see him getting some playing time. Next, Jordan Pefok. He's not starting for BSC in the Champions League. That's kind of disappointing, but I feel like that's more fitness related. Ethan Horvath, he's still on the bench for Nottingham Forest. I feel like I was kind of hoping that once the international break ended, he'd get into the team, but no, it doesn't seem like it, which is pretty disappointing, but hey, I mean, he's got some work to do still. And lastly, Reggie Cannon, he's still in the doghouse at Boavista, and he wanted that move out, and he didn't get it, and he's still not playing for them at all. Okay, that's everybody who's played this weekend. And now we got a couple of injuries to report. Christian Pulisic, he's out for the Champions League game, and I feel like it's 10 days according to an Sports Illustrated report. Yeah, very disappointing, but I mean, you know, we played him a full 90, just coming right off of that him being sick. So I feel like we kind of knew that he'd get hurt when we played him, and we took that risk. Same with Gio Reyna. We knew that he was carrying an injury going into the game. We played him a full 90. I'm not too sure about Greg for that decision, but BVB Buzz reports that Gio's out until October. Really disappointed because he had such a bigger role in the Dortmund team this year, and he was looking really good in the midfield, but that gets pushed back a lot. Man, that really sets Gio back a lot, and that's really disappointing. Next, Sergiño Dest, still injured. He's going to be missing the Champions League game today, or at the very least, he's not starting. And, I don't feel like that injury is as bad as we thought it could have been, so it's not too big a deal, and him missing out against Bayern, I'm not too disappointed about that. And that game could have gone poorly, but again, at the same time, could have gone great. Man, who knows? But, yeah, disappointed to see Dest injured. Josh Sargent picked up a hamstring injury reported by Goal, and, yeah, again, disappointing. Another guy who could play wing is down for us, and that position, which I feel like is probably our strongest one, is looking really thin, especially with Tim Weah still out. So, yeah, attacking, we're going to have a couple guys need to step up. Brendan Aronson's going to need to keep his form. Ricardo Pepe's probably going to have a really good performance. Conrad, man, hopefully he can keep his form going. He's played for every game for Marseille so far this season, so hopefully he can continue to do well. Then Zack Steffen, he's still not on the bench, still hasn't recovered from his illness, so man, hopefully he'll be back by, I think it's back by like a couple of weeks. They have a League Cup game against Wickham that would probably be his game. Hopefully he'll be back by then. And lastly, in some good injury news, Yunus Musa came on late and looks like he's coming back from injury. very good to see. He had a really good run where he's dribbling by a lot of people, almost scored, which would have been like a Panenka candidate. But, geez, very good to see him back. And, yeah, that's all we've talked about. A couple of really nice debuts, but unfortunately those injuries are looking pretty bad for us right now. Yeah, that's all I've talked about. See ya.